While you were enjoying a long holiday weekend and trying to forget about politics, well, the president was doing just about everything he could to make that impossible, politicizing everything about troops, the courts, the climate. Is it even shocking anymore? Then troops shooting tear gas at immigrants, or I should say migrants at the border, including women and children. Thousands of migrant kids still being detained as we speak. The immigration situation going from bad to worse. That as the president continues to ramp up both the rhetoric and all in an attempt to rev up the base. Also, the president dismissing the government climate report that has a dire warning for our country and planet. We're going to show you why this is the scariest assessment we've seen yet. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. I hope you made it through your holiday Thanksgiving dinners without too much political talk or too many political arguments. Again, good luck. Now, if you did, good for you. You're miles ahead of our president because he spent the weekend being that weird uncle in the MAGA hat who just would not let anyone or everyone enjoy their meals. Now, yesterday, the president, he tweeted this out. Yes, he's celebrating what he says is a strong economy. He also threatens the Fed chairman a little bit in the same tweet. And the real takeaway, he calls himself, he self-titles himself, President T. And that was the least important and most comical way that Trump tried to inject himself into our lives over that long weekend. For more on that and the other ways the president threw pumpkin pie in his own face this weekend, we turn to our senior political correspondent and resident Trump explainer, Andrew Whitman, to get it pumpkin pie. But Andrew, we're going to get to it in a second. This is just what they call it, the lowlights or the highlights. We could have gone for more here.
Sure.
In one weekend, what is typically the slowest of weekends for politics, it's beyond the surreal now. And it's even beyond the disturbing. It's almost into the sad.
It's almost like he's afraid to give up the spotlight even for a second to make sure that he's on the tips of everybody's tongues, Rich. But let's begin with the responses to that President T tweet, because if for no other reason, they're pretty funny, and the rest of the segment is not. President T mocked with this response as one tweeter tried to put words in Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani's mouth. Sir, if you change your name to President T, you can simply claim Mueller's findings aren't about you. Or, this one's my favorite. That's Mr. T with the caption, only President T we acknowledge. By the way, I pity the fool who doesn't get this 30-year-old reference. Unfortunately, as I said, the rest of the segment isn't funny at all. Let's go back to Thanksgiving Day when this president, who has yet to visit any frontline combat troops, according to reports, he's scared to go because he thinks he's be a target. Instead, he called up some servicemen and women. But rather than discussing their service or conditions on the ground, Trump's focus was where it always is, on himself and the issues he cares about. Speaking with a general in Afghanistan, Trump compared the fight against terror there to his ginned-up border threat and judges who have pushed back on it.
We're doing very well on the southern border. We're very tough. We get a lot of bad court decisions from the Ninth Circuit, which has become a big thorn in our side. We always lose, and then you lose again and again, and then you hopefully win at the Supreme Court, which we've done. But it's a terrible thing when judges take over your protective services, when they tell you how to protect your border. It's a disgrace.
Again, that was a call with a general in Afghanistan. Later, the president spoke to the commanding officer of a Coast Guard ship in the Persian Gulf off the coast of Bahrain. What did they talk about? Why, trade, of course. Trump asked the commanding officer, what's going on in the region? How are they feeling about things? How are they feeling about trade? Because, you know, trade for me is a very big subject all over. We've been taken advantage of for many, many years by bad trade deals. The guy's on a ship in the Gulf. The president asks him if locals like his trade policy. We also got some more head-smacking actions on some critically serious issues as well, like the president taking to Twitter to smack down Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, a conservative Republican, after Roberts pushed back on the president. The president, of course, was upset about a judge's ruling blocking his harsh anti-asylum seeker rules. Trump responded by bashing the entire Ninth Circuit Court. Roberts reminded the nation that we don't have Trump judges or Obama judges. Trump denied that, condemned the entire court, and called its rubber stamp for his foes. Climate change. The president tweeted something your sixth grader knows is false, that weather is the same as climate. Trump noted cold weather across the nation, asking whatever happened to global warming. But on Black Friday, while no one was watching, the administration dumped a massive report showing not only the dangers of climate change just decades away, but also the devastating economic impact it could have. We'll have more on this later on RFL. Also this weekend, the president denied that a CIA report, the CIA that Trump runs, by the way, he denied that the CIA had determined Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was behind the murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. But Adam Schiff, the Democrat who's about to take over the House Intelligence Committee, who has seen the CIA's report, says Trump's lying about that. And Schiff is not the only one. Rich?
Well, along with Andrew and myself, we're joined by Dominic Carter, political journalist and author. Listen, we started drawing this up this morning. We could have gone through a laundry list, and again, it is as slow as anything. The Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, obviously of the long Thanksgiving weekend. But he made so much news, Dom. In short, he doesn't believe his own administration and our own scientists globally, 99-point-something% of recognized scientists believe there is such a thing as global warming with real consequences. We'll go through the numbers. His own intelligence agency says, listen, the Saudis did it. The Crown Prince here, he killed him. Factual. He doesn't trust him. Who does he trust? He trusts Putin, right? When his own intel says, yeah, this guy, really bad guy here, they were involved in screwing with our election. Putin sounds like a strong guy, I'll believe him. They say the Saudis said, hey, you know, it could have been anybody. Crown Prince, he didn't really have to know what's going on with it. I can keep going on down. He won't believe our own people. He won't believe our courts. He goes after a conservative justice, and Roberts here was trying to say 101 civics. No, it's, by the way, this is a Trump court appointee, you know, some of these rulings. But he'll go against every American institution. I don't know. I got the sense this weekend that people who used to get all upset or angry about it just shake their head now, because even the Trump defenders are like, I don't know what you want me to say. It's almost sad. The joke's on all of us, but it's almost sad. I almost sense it even in some of these rallies. They're laughing along with him, not that they really believe it as much anymore. You buy that or no?
I agree with you 1,000%. I think it's so bad, to take it a step further, that Americans are tolerating our president. This has been an experiment with the business leader. Look at GM, the news. That's gone terribly bad. And I think Americans, I think we saw it in the midterm elections. We're going to see it with the presidential election. They tried Trump. It hasn't worked. They're going to move back to more of a traditional politician.
He also just, if that weekend wasn't enough, he basically worked a 4-hour workday today, from 11:30 to 2:30, and maybe my math is off, maybe that's 3 hours. Yeah. And then he jumped on a plane to fly and do rallies in Mississippi. I mean, it's hard to put it into words, but yeah, I think people argue, and there you see one of the rallies he's doing in Mississippi. It's a live shot out of Tupelo. I think people...
And don't you, look at this picture, Andrew. Aren't you worried what he's going to say right now? But at the same time, I'm glad I don't have the audio up.
Yeah, there's that, and I also notice in the background that there's not a single face that doesn't look like his. But I, you know, I think people are getting a little bored of it. And I think he's a TV guy. He's, you know, was on The Apprentice, and after a while, people get used to your shtick, and the numbers start to drop a little bit. And frankly, I think people, except for his core base, it's all getting lost in. It's the same stuff every day. You see his Twitter feed and he's saying something outrageous. He answers questions and he does something outrageous, and it's just not.
But here's the thing, and obviously you guys know this and our audience knows this. It's not a reality show. This is real life. He's going to go at the end of this week out to the G20. There's not a scintilla of doubt. I haven't even asked you this question, that we will be the global punchline once again. You have the Russians, who I don't think it's coincidental, with the eve of these events, taking military action basically against the Ukrainians, okay? And they're doing it almost daring. Well, what are you going to do about it? When pressed on it, even with video, with audio, and the Russians intentionally charging into our ally ships, the president says, well, I don't really know who's to blame. He's going to meet with Putin one-on-one. This is going to go on. This is going to be such a global embarrassment, this and so many other things, including, obviously, as Andrew went through, with the Khashoggi murder at the hands of the Saudis. The president is working against his own self-appointed administration, his own judicial system, a court system, his own Supreme Court now, apparently. Forget about just the 9th District. and he's working against his own scientific community and appointees. Yet he's going to be our face in front of the world, and we just hope it won't be horrible. There's no hope that somehow he's going to put up a good face for us. And he's doing a rally right now in Mississippi, like we're going to talk about, with a woman who said, you know, I would be happy to go to a hanging in Mississippi, by the way. And he's going to do 2 events with her tonight. So I don't know why it's any different, Dominic, but it just felt like it's like, well, you know.
Richard, it's because it's so outrageous.
So daily, too.
Daily, hourly, that Americans have become literally immune to this. And so my question is, let's say my assumption is correct, that he's definitely a one-term president. What is he going to do after he loses the election for that year or those couple of months?
Well, we got a long way to go from there. And obviously, before that, and I think it's going to be sooner than later, Andrew, we're going to have the Mueller findings put out, one way or the other. And you can expect that there will be some extreme actions on the part of the administration to try and shut down the inevitable.
Of course.
And then what?
Of course, because he's prejudged it. Just like he's prejudged Cindy Hyde-Smith. He wants her back in the Senate. It doesn't matter what she said or what she's done. Just like he prejudged Roy Moore. Just like he prejudged Russia when it comes to either the 2016 election or Ukraine. Just like he prejudged Saudi Arabia based on Khashoggi. I mean, he knows what the outcome that would be most helpful for him is in any situation.
And that's his reality.
And that's the answer. You get the same answer coming out that you got going in, regardless of what the evidence is.
I just noticed about you guys at the Thanksgiving table, and I bet you for a lot of you folks at home, some of the same people who a year ago were itching to have a fight over politics because they wanted to, you know, talk about MAGA and all the rest, they would have rather talked about crummy football on Thursday. I think everybody is getting a little bit tired of it. Maybe not everybody, but other than a hardcore third in this country, and we saw the lowest approval ratings for this president came out today from Gallup, I think the shtick, as Andrew said, is starting to wear thin. All right, when we come back, we are starting to see disturbing new images from the border, including this woman dragging her young kids away from tear gas being lobbed at them. We're going to show you how bad things have gotten and how the administration does its best here to throw gas on the troubling fire.